And hello, movie lovers. And with me, I have Creighton Hobbs with me. I also have Alex with me. And we're going to be talking about Blinded by Tragedy. This is actually Creighton's Hobbs' new indie film, gangster film, if you will. But if you guys want to, go ahead and smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. Also, too, go over to the Apple Podcast, go wherever you guys get your podcast from, rate us over there. It's a great way for other people to find my show. So, with further ado, let's get on with the show. Hey guys, how's everyone doing tonight?
Hey. Well, John, thank you for having me and Alex back on Movie Lovers Unite. Alex, are you excited?
Hell yeah, I am.
It's great to actually have you guys on here. And of course, it's been a while, Creighton. You've been very busy. I've been seeing your socials and things like that all over, plastered all over Facebook, talking about Blinded by Darkness and stuff like that. So, here's the thing. I know this is based off of a short story, man, and I know that it's a kind of like a reboot in a sense, but what's the difference between the reboot and the short film, and how does this stack up against all the other mafioso movies that we had in the past?
All right. So, yeah, I originally, over 20 years ago, I started off and I made a short film called Locked In, right? And I'm talking like it was on 8mm camcorder thing. I mean, yeah, it was that old. And I mean, it was just like, it was so low budget. Like, it was like we actually took a red Sharpie when a guy got shot and we drew it on the back of their head. Like that was the bullet hole. There was like no CGI. It was terrible. I mean, so it was pure creativeness. But for my first short, and I always said, I was like, man, I want to remake this with the knowledge that I know now. And boom, I rewrote the script, same thing, but with as you grow a little bit older, you grow a little bit wiser and knowing how to construct stories and this and that, and boom, here we are. And I renamed it Blinded by Tragedy because Locked In was taken a lot in Hollywood. Believe it or not, they took the title from me.
Well, how dare they do that? But hey, at least you have a better title now. And, Blinded by Tragedy, I feel like that's actually a proper name for it because of the fact that you have a character who's trying to do right by his mom, and then he winds up going into this darkness that's where he's blinded by that tragedy. And it's like a tragic love story in a sense where he's wrapped up in all this stuff. At least that's what I'm getting from the synopsis of the film itself. But, I appreciate what you do as a filmmaker as well. But, Alex, my other question is this, though. When working on Blinded by Darkness and everything, what is some of the challenging stuff that you're doing with this film? And also, too, what is your role in this film, though, too, as well?
Well, the most challenging part of working on the film so far with me is you gotta get the actors involved with doing the stunts, and sometimes that's easier than other times. And with me, I can just step in and say, okay, hey, do this, and then I have to stop and explain, okay, this means you have to like put your arm a certain way, hey, and move this way in relation to the camera so that it looks like you're actually killing the guy, but you're not actually killing him too badly in real life,
Right.
And it's, people's schedules don't always match up, so we can't always do the training I'd like them to, but, you got to roll with what you got. And sometimes, it just comes together in the end. And my role on the film is I'm the stunt supervisor, stunt coordinator. My sensei and I worked on the fight scenes together, along with another member of our class, James Glasscox, who's also in the film.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing one of the gangsters in the movie, guy by the name of Scott. I don't know if he has a last name.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Scott, yeah, but which was funny. Creighton and I had a conversation. Like half the male characters that I'd written for things that I've done in the past are either named Jason, Scott, or Tommy. So that was
Yeah.
kind of funny.
That's kind of ironic, though. You're playing just about almost every single character that you had before. So
Yeah.
it's always fun though to be able to play somebody else, anyways. But when it comes down to the stunt work and stuff like that, so basically, is it like a quick pace kind of way of that you actually do your stunts, or is it basically where it's like step by step where you would act, for example, like self-defense. Basically, you would wind up telling them, look, we're going to go here. I'm going to grab your arm. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do another shot by shot of what we're going to do next.
Yeah, it's kind of you have to think of it in terms of like this is what you do for self-defense, and then here's how we frame it up to make it look good on the film,
Exactly. But Creighton, with this film, I feel like that this is actually going to be. Don't get me wrong, I loved the last film that you had, but I just feel like this is actually going to be where you're going to be shining at the most. Not only that, but you also have an amazing crew, and I know you have some of the old crew members back from the History That Haunts Us and stuff like that. So, one thing I have to say that I appreciate that you do with your actors and actresses and everything, you place them in the places that they need to be at, and they always wind up doing a top-notch job. And my thing is this: what now? I know that we had Aunt Kim from the History That Haunts Us, so I know Carol is back. So what character is she going to be playing this time?
Oh my, poor Carol! I put it to her on this one. She's going to be not Aunt Kim. I guarantee you, she's going to play a madam that is taking place in 1996. So it's going to be a memory of the main character Bobby, who is played by Jasper Wilkerson. So or not a memory, but a something that happened in the past. Flashback sequence. That's right. And so, when you see Carol, who is playing this madam, it's like, oh, okay. But she's very not your she's going to be classy, a very classy, very, when you watch it, it's going to be like, oh, she's just like quiet, sinister, that quietness of her. And you just see that. So you're going to see a very good role with her, I think, a very leading thing. And also, what I like to do with people that are acting, and Alex can tell you, is I always on set, I say, okay, this happened before we're shooting the scene, and this is what's going to happen after. So they understand why they're shooting that particular scene at that moment. I try to do my best to give the explanation to all actors and actresses of this is what's in the movie, this is what happened before in the movie, this is what but right now we got to shoot this one scene. So
right, and I get that, and I think that with someone like Carol, with someone that's playing in this bordello, for example, this madam, you need to have someone that has this gangster kind of feel to it, to where she's like this calm before the storm kind of character, where basically she's just taking it all in, and then once she takes it all in, she just winds up just letting it out. That's what I'm picturing that this character actually is. So
it's definitely one of those where you're going to want to learn more. You're going to be like, oh, why didn't you give some more of that, Creighton? Why? And and I have to say this as well. There's a lot of new faces in this movie. For example, the guys that are like the co-stars or the lead, Jasper Wilkerson who is playing Bobby, and the teenager Trevor Watford, who is playing teenage Bobby, and Julian, who's like Bobby's best friend, which y'all ain't gonna. When you're watching the movie, is all said and over with, you're gonna be like, yeah, it's gonna be that best friend that you wish you never had. Yeah,
The friend that you don't need to have in your life,
yeah,
but the
yeah.
one.
It's like,
I
and
gotcha.
so, and plus, like, you're also gonna have so many, a plethora of new characters that I think that this is what is going to separate this from your typical mob, movie, where I go deep into characterization with it. There's going to be some type of deepness to each, to the majority of each and every character,
Right. Okay, so you have a characterization of a character. You're actually diving into the backstories. Probably you're also probably giving us layers to each setup of each character, since we're being introduced to these characters for the very first time, and you're probably dealing with the mafioso lifestyle of the families as well, not just the family, the business side of the family, but probably
right.
the actual family itself.
Yeah, and that's where like the flashback sequences take place of like you're going to see teenage Bobby and teenage Jimmy like being around their mom, who is being played by Serena Salieri. And I hope I said your last name right.
That sounds right. That sounds Italian.
Yeah,
that sounds
if
Italian.
I did not, and if not, I'll get an angry text.
Hey, forget about
it. Yeah. Oh,
Oh.
And yeah, and like, so you're gonna see the understanding of it, like, because I've always noticed with watching mafia movies and stuff, it's like you always ask that question: what got this person to that point, or what,
She's in the
that
chat
kind of
right
thing.
now.
Right.
Oh, she is.
One thing too. She's Brandy wanted me to tell you that her and I both had an amazing time at the premiere when we went to the History That Haunts Us. So we wanted to say thank you for the invite for that. And then we actually have Serena, and she's in here with us and everything. And I would like to actually have a chance to interview her later on in the future. But one thing I can say is the characterization of a character is very important. Also, to putting those characters in, having the dialogue reflect off of those characters, and having the right people in place of it that actually goes a long way. Now, I know that you guys did a little bit of a stunt work, Alex. I think last week or last weekend.
Yes, this past Sunday we did some.
And one thing I wanted to ask you about was this: what entails with that setup as far as that stunt work goes, and what details did you have to lay out with the actors and actresses with that kind of scene?
Well, we laid out the framework of the scene in advance, probably about a month and a half, 2 months ago now. And then, when we got to the location, there were some issues. It was like we didn't have a soft floor to land on, so we had to rework some things. We didn't have 100% and the space that I was necessarily expecting, but then again, and I wasn't entirely sure where we were going to be shooting in the first place. Just until we got the message, and so we just adapted and reworked some things, because I saw that the initial takedown of one stunt looked a little bit slow, so we worked on that. James and I worked out some more stuff for the rest of the fight scene. And, there was a little bit of improv here and there, but most of it went down kind of as we expected it to ahead of time. We just, like, the beats were there, but the notes were a little bit different, I guess you could say.
That's always a good thing with improvisation when it comes down to the stunt work, because a perfect example is the episode on The Sopranos where basically Tony whacks Ralphie. And there's a scene where Tony winds up grabbing the Raid can and that wasn't even scripted. He just happens to grab the raid, and that was actually a for real thing. He actually did spray him with the raid. So stunt work can
I didn't
actually
know
be
that.
yeah. That was
Wow.
actually some yeah. That was like a little behind the scenes stuff from listening to Talking Sopranos. He said, yeah,
Okay.
that scene was not even considered even in there. I think one of the set people or something like that left a can over there, and so happens to be that's what ended up going down. But
Oh.
you know, improvisation during stunts can work in some
Mhm.
areas without trying to hurt
Yeah.
somebody, and then sometimes it actually adds a level. I'm not saying that you should hurt the person that you're working with, but
Yeah.
it does add
Yeah.
some character building whenever it comes down to certain scenes, though.
Yeah.
In a
Well,
sense.
the fact that we were able to say, let's cut before we do this, and let's rearrange and make
Right.
sure everything's angled to the camera a certain way, well, that helps a lot because we're ultimately not in the same kind of position we'd be if this was professional wrestling, where we've kind of got to be incredibly suicidal with the stunts. We can, and
Yeah.
angle things a certain way, and it's not it's not as dangerous.
Exactly. Because it can be
Yeah.
dangerous, and people don't realize that if you're not set in the frame, and if you're not doing what the stunt coordinator is telling you to do, you can hurt somebody, even though it
Yeah.
is telegraphed.
Mhm.
And that's the most dangerous thing about
Oh,
doing
yeah.
something within the entertainment industry whenever you're dealing with stuff like that. So under your guidance and stuff like that, I'm sure that things are actually pretty smooth. Also, too, whenever you have like an intense scene like that or something, too, your adrenaline's up. So therefore, you need to have that quick moment of, okay, we got the shot we need. Let's move on. So that way
Yeah.
everybody starts calming down a little bit. If not, your adrenaline is going to take over, and then before you know it,
Yeah.
Mhm.
you're no longer that character. You're you. So therefore, it's
Mhm.
going to take other people out of that situation.
Yeah.
So that's
In situations like that, sometimes you'll start off with you'll be like, "Ah," and you're like
Yeah.
I gotta fight to survive. And then as time goes on, you start getting a little bit worn out. And you gotta take a break and realize, hang on, I'm not in the right physical shape for this right now. I gotta take a break, drink some water, and come back in like 5 minutes so that I'm not gonna fall over myself, land on them, and then brain us both in the concrete.
right. Exactly. We actually have someone from Finland that's commented below. It's
Oh,
I'm gonna
Petrie.
let you. I'm gonna let you say that name,
Oh,
Creighton,
Petrie.
because I don't want to
Yeah.
get in trouble for butchering.
Yeah. That's actually our film a music composer.
Oh,
Petrie.
nice.
Yeah, from Finland.
Awesome. It's great to have you in the chat, Petrie. But yeah, that's another thing I wanted to ask you was, as far as the scoring goes and stuff like that, how would you say that the scoring is with this movie so far? If you saw
Oh.
anything within the edits itself.
Oh gosh, it is so phenomenal because what's amazing is that even like with Petrie, that he's all the way across the world from where I'm at. Good Lord, I'm here in the South, and he's in Finland, but he's able to artistically see the footage and ask me, like, okay, tell me the mood that this is supposed to be. And I can tell him, and his musical genius brain comes up with the music. I'll listen to it and I'll be like, we're there, or we need to change a little here, a little there, and it's done. I mean, it's just he is so professional and so wonderful to work with, and I think everybody that's involved with this movie is just, we are so blessed to have Petrie from Finland to be our film composer. It's just wonderful.
That's awesome, because here's the thing. I like the fact that, you have someone that you feel comfortable with to work with, especially overseas at 4 a.m. I give credit for that, dude. Thank you for tuning in at this at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. I'm still sleeping in my covers, not wanting to go to work yet. But,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But yeah, the matter of fact, that also reminds me. I also have an interview with someone from the UK, and their time difference is a huge difference as well.
Mhm.
But that set aside, I feel like with scoring and stuff like that, it's just as important as acting because if you put a piece of music into it, it could take somebody out. And there's been movies where I feel like, okay, that set piece does not belong in this scene here. That music piece should have been here and there, and I've become like an editor rather than a reviewer. But and I'm like, and then sometimes the music can actually kill the movie and kill the vibe that you're going for. That's also another thing. So here's the thing: if you and I love the fact that you trust Petrie the way you do with your baby, with your movie, and it makes me that more excited to actually hear the scoring for the soundtrack because I can hear I can actually hear the scoring for this movie whenever I'm watching certain behind the scene clips and stuff like that you send in to me. So I just want to say thank you for sending those in to me for me to get a little bit of a taste of what I'm going to be getting stored for.
Yeah, man. And Alex, he has not seen anything we shot on the action sequence this Sunday. So yeah, don't worry.
No. But I have to
you seen some of the behind the scenes goof off clips?
That I've seen.
Yeah.
Oh man, the bloopers to me was probably the highlight of it. If only you could actually put that at like the very end. It's like, okay, we had this big drama, and now all of a sudden you have a big goof off thing. Like, wait, what's going on here? But yeah, my favorite thing that I have to say is the part where basically the mother winds up slamming the door in her son's face on an accident.
That was good.
That was
Serena. Trevor got it right on his nose. Dope. Yeah.
I think I commented on that. I think I said I need to call child services or something like that.
And Trevor did not budge. He is such a good actor. He just went with it, and he was kind of like,
Trevor
typical teenage, right?
You could hear Serena in the background. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
But you see, though, that's great though that you actually have an actor like that to where basically he can counterbalance that goofness in a sense to where it's like, okay. It was an oops, my bad, but I can also play off of that because I'm playing a teenager. So you can also give that kind of awkward teenage look like, what the hell? What did you do that for? You know what I mean? So he could play off the narrative of that if he really needed to or whatever. So I think that you have a great and talented team behind you with that.
Oh, it's wonderful. The cast and crew is just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, and like when we're filming stuff, on scene, they just sometimes they come off of it right off the top of their head. Like here's a little thing that you'll see in the movie, right? And it's not really a spoiler, but it's movie lovers unite. So Alex, I think we can get away with it, but but like where Trevor the scene basically is where Bobby's mom, who's played by Serena, walks in with her little dog, right? Now her little dog is the cute little poodle dog. I call it an Ewok because if you put a blanket around it, it would look like a little Ewok. It's cute. So she walks in with this cute little poodle Ewok, and she hands it over to her teenage Bobby, and he's like, here, I'll hold Gangster. And he said that. He named the dog Gangster. But, he did that right on the fly, just right. He didn't have to say that. But I was like, dang, that's awesome. I mean, and there's constant little things that I love the creativeness that the actors and actresses and what like Alex does and just so many other people. It's these little things that makes this such a great dish to watch,
That's
a great
awesome.
movie.
Now, my other thing is too, as far as scouting for locations and things like that, was that the hardest thing or was that the easiest thing for y'all?
Yeah. That's a toughie. Yeah, because with this, it's yeah, different scenes, different things. And I've always believed, and I always have, and probably always will, when you watch a movie, you want to see something you haven't seen, right? Well,
Right.
I mean, that's you want to see something I have not seen. So that's what we do. And I always want to try to show the audience something different versus just like, well, here we are, we're in the woods.
Right.
Let's go to a cool restaurant and shoot an
Look over
action
here, see
scene, or
how many
let's
films
go
I have. Are they shot in the
somewhere
forest
like
preserve? Yeah.
that. But yeah, so it's just one of those things where, yeah, it's a challenge. Anybody makes a movie, I'll tell you, location is always a challenge. But you know what? So far, we got it.
That's great though, because I know one of the actors winded up finding one of the locations for you because you guys were having a little bit of a hard time, and that's awesome that an actor will go on ahead and be like, you know what, this we may not have this location that you specifically said on the script, but we can actually find something and decorate it and make it its own. Because even the character, even the structure of a building or something like that can actually become a character as well. So that's also another thing.
Yeah.
Petrie wanted to ask Alex a question. What new have you done already or going to do in this film as a stunt coordinating point of view?
That I'm not really sure how to answer that. And it sounds like there's like two questions run into each other there. What new have you done already? Are you going to do in this film? Well, I guess to answer this just as clearly as I think I can, I guess. This is the first time for me, doing stunt coordination for a movie. But I've got my sensei and I've got James to work with. And so we can just bounce ideas off each other or when we need to. So I've got that. I can, if I'm ever lost for what kind of stunts we might need, I can always just open up our class textbook, the Heiwashinkai student manual, and find something and that we can use for that. What new have you done already? Are you going to do in this film? Well, I always try to add some kinetic motion to the scene whenever possible. I try to tell Creighton, and like we can use like a little bit of a cut here to a motion, and or move the camera here to emphasize where the impact is and things like that. I just draw on action set pieces I've seen in stuff like, John Wick and Burn Notice and things like that. Anything that I've thought was really cool, or sometimes what not to do, like in shows like Iron Fist.
Yeah, that's a lot of not to do stuff.
Yeah,
that was yeah. I'll be
what
on.
new have you done already, or are you going to do? Oh, what new have you done already, or are you going to do? Okay, I think that makes it make more sense, but I think I answered it pretty well anyways. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
The pizza
and
pan
two, yeah.
Pizza Pan,
Yeah.
Serena says.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, the pizza pan. Yeah. That was a real hit.
I do have to ground myself sometimes there, because I was coming up with all kinds of wacky ideas for that, and Creighton was just like, "No, we don't need that. We just need to have we need to have it be like a punctuation for the scene." I was like, "Oh, okay. Hey, well, let's do that then."
Okay. What's what's the story behind pizza pans though?
Oh my gosh.
Serena says effective use of props.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Professional wrestling where they use the steel chair.
Yeah.
We used a steel pizza pan.
And I'm going to tell you, the stunt guy, the stunt man, John, he took it. He looked at me and Alex and he said, "Nah." He said, "Hit me full force." And I heard Alex. He said, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah, do it." And I was like, "So when you hear that sound effect, that's for real."
Yeah, that's not us dubbing anything in. That is a steel piece of pan hitting him.
Yeah.
That's crazy though, but I mean that's putting your life on a line in a sense for this movie, so that's how serious he is. Because I know I'll be knocked out, but you know, it's but I like
great.
the fact that hey, that's a good wake up call.
I think we had to like press on it and fold it back into place so that it was intact for the next shot a couple of times.
I can see you guys just having like 3 pizza pan props just in case you need.
We should have. We probably should have.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm glad that you guys are so passionate about this film and the originality behind it, and to know that this was actually based off of a short film, and now it's being a full-length movie and stuff like that. I know that Creighton is just excited to push this thing out as soon as this thing is done. So, you know, is this going to be through Amazon and stuff like that, through where people can stream it on, or where's this going to be streamed on?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be on Amazon. That I know 100% for sure. And I don't know 100%, but it's looking very, very promising, as in, like, I'm 98% sure of Google movies and YouTube movies. And from what the distributor has told me, they was like, it's probably going to land on a couple more platforms, like major platforms to that level, you know. So they're really excited about what they're, you know, when this movie is done. They're like, you know, if you did so good with The History That Haunts Us, we can't wait to see this whole nother genre, because, you know, The History That Haunts Us, that was like a psychological scary. This is crime drama. This is action, crime drama, mafia type thing. And so this is a whole nother playground that I get to play in. And
okay. Well, you know, I'm thinking that that's everything that I had wanted to ask you guys and stuff like that, because here's the thing. I want to have you guys back on again once this movie is out. That way I can actually dive more into the characters and stuff like that. I want to have the cast and crew back on here, have Alex back on here to dive into this a lot deeper as well. I do appreciate you coming on, Alex. It was actually a pleasure to meet you for the very first time, and I hope to have you back again outside of doing interviews and things like that too, as well. Do some movie reviews, do some movie news, stuff like that as well, and work with you.
That's my bread and butter.
Okay.
I was a movie critic for 8 years.
Oh, nice. So yeah, I definitely could use another person behind the mic and talking some movie news and some movie reviews as well. So I do appreciate that. So with that being said, guys, that's going to be it as far as this interview goes. But Creighton, man, it's always a pleasure to have you on here. You always have you always have something new to show me in some type of way of explaining stuff. And so I do appreciate that. And Alex, I wish you all the best with this film as well, with your stunt coordinations and things like that too. I know it's challenging, and I love a challenge, so I know that you're the right person to be up for that challenge as well. So I do appreciate you guys taking the time out of your night to talk about Blinded by Darkness, and of course,
by Tragedy.
Thank you. I knew that. I just want to see if you guys.
I'm going to steal that name for my next movie.
Well, actually, that I know where you're getting that from, Blinded by Darkness. Because remember, that's the thing. I made that freebie for around October.
Yep,
and it was
that's where I got that at.
Yeah, so
hey, you know, it fits the bill in a sense.
Yeah,
but yeah, I do appreciate that. And let's see here. Petrie says, "Great job, Creighton and Alex and John as an interviewer. Thank you. Thank you so much." Matter of fact, speaking of interviews, I actually did one with the Holly Shorts Film Festival that I did last night. I'm actually editing out that podcast, so that podcast will probably be aired out tomorrow. Creighton's and Alex's interview will probably be around Friday or Saturday whenever I'm done with all the edits with that. But as far as everything else goes, I have a bunch of other shows lined up. I'm also going to be doing some more short film reviews as well and some interviews. And like I said, I teased a little bit earlier that I'm going to have someone from the UK because I ended up reviewing his film. Stay tuned for more stuff to be announced. So with that being said, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to go over to Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Good Pods, and everywhere else that you guys get your podcasts from. And of course, you can always find the links below. And always until next time, guys. Bye-bye.